So today I'm going to be showing you how to bake some chicken breast. While the chicken breasts are baking, I'm going to show you how to make a lemon kale cashew salad. Okay, so let's dive right in. I'm using a pound or so of chicken breast from Whole Foods that was purchased, organic chicken breast. You want to make sure that you preheat the oven at 425 degrees. We're going to be baking this chicken once I season it for 25 minutes. It's also important to note that if you start with room temperature or lightly chilled chicken, the timing will be perfect. But of course, we're always going to check with our handy meat thermometer just to make sure that the safety and well-being of you and your family is secure. Internal temperature for chicken should be 165 degrees. So I'm just going to open our chicken breast real quick. I'm going to season it lightly on both sides with my sea salt blend, Ergomer. The higher you go to season it, just as a quick tip, the more coverage or surface area that you will receive. I'm going to do it with salt and pepper, and onion and garlic. That way, whatever I use this chicken for, even if I don't put it on a salad, it will be... This hasn't even been used yet. It would be lightly seasoned, so pretty versatile. I can always add seasonings as the week goes on if I don't eat all three of my chicken breasts, but at least this way, this is ready to go. Pretty liberally dusting it with, again, salt, pepper, garlic, and onion granules. Not a perfect science. For those of you who measure everything, you do not have to measure the seasoning. And for those of you who know me, I don't love touching raw chicken, so I always use other utensils. Cuts down on the mess that you create, and I don't have to wash my hands as much if I keep them clean. Want them nice and spaced out. I'm gonna wash them anyway because I got a little dribble. So I also put these, just backing up for a second, I put these chicken breasts in parchment paper. It's just to make the cleanup a little easier. It should protect the pan from getting things really cooked on or really burnt on them, which just makes cleanup great, and it's not toxic like aluminum foil is. So it's one of my favorite things in my kitchen. So now I'm just gonna dust the other side of these chicken breasts. If they have a bunch of tendons or fat, sometimes I'll trim them up, but these look pretty good. And a lot of people ask, oh, well, Dana, don't you put any fats when you bake your chicken breast? And the answer is no. I'm gonna save my fats for the salad dressing we're gonna make in just a second that you can see. So I forgot pepper on these other two. You can really use any seasoning blend that you like that is clean and sourced properly. I could basically tell you a whole nother conversation on spices and seasoning blends alone, which I know some of you are interested in, but we'll save that for another day. I'm just gonna pop these in the oven and work on our salad dressing and our salad in just a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to my salad here. This recipe that I'm using is an oldie but a goodie. It's coming from the Institute of Functional Medicine's Renew Food Plan. It's a food plan that helps just reset everything. I am checking out my kale leaves. These are fresh from Covey Rice Farm Box. So you can't get crisper or more turbid than this green curly kale. This is the type of kale that we're using. So I'm just gonna kind of pull it off the stems and get it in my bowl while my chicken is baking. This is just gonna take a few minutes. You need about 3 to 4 cups of leaves for this recipe. So it's gonna be pretty much probably this bag of kale. I just wanna show you a trick with the kale too to de-stem these. If I hold it by the stem and I kind of fold my hand around this like a little C shape and hold the stem, I can pull the entire stem back and get most of the leaves with my other hand very easily. The reason why I'm de-stemming this is because if I leave the stems on and proceed to eat the salad raw, it'll be extremely fibrous, difficult to chew, and much more bitter than keeping them off the stems.
Salad.
This is kale.
Huh?
This is kale, Miss Kayla. This is
I
kale.
know. You
Say
making
hello.
that salad?
Say hello to our group of participants who are watching us cook today. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi, Miss Kayla.
Sorry about that. I didn't know.
Miss Kayla is a whiz at the greens, y'all. So she may not be as familiar with kale, but I know she knows what a collard green is, and it's in the same family.
Mm-hmm.
So these dark green leafy vegetables are really, really good for you from a fiber standpoint, but they're also rich in plenty of antioxidants and useful nutrients. This roughage is a type of insoluble fiber that can really help get some old yucky business out of the GI tracts. We can't help them all, y'all, but we're gonna try. Okay, I'd say we're getting pretty close, y'all, to the 4 to 6 cups that we need. So we're just gonna do that. I think there's a few extra leaves in here, so I'm just gonna do the whole bag, because why not? Cooking is supposed to be fun, even though I am basing this on an old recipe. My prior knowledge, it's okay to eyeball it every now and then, because this is actually gonna shrink a good bit, because what we're gonna do next is we're gonna massage these leaves with some sea salt so we can take a lot of the water out. This salad is great because for those of you that rush and busy during the week, it lasts for 3 to 4 days after you make it, and it'll still be just as crunchy and fresh as the first day. So before I massage this kale down with some sea salt, I'm gonna give it a good rinse in this strainer that I put in my sink, because once it's organic from the farm, there's some nice little organic bugs, pesticide free, and some organic dirt that we wouldn't want to consume. I'm just gonna move it all around and make sure I'm getting every little bit of that water. Like I said, we're about to rub it down with some salt. I'm gonna take out these couple of leaves that are yellow, because those are already starting to go bad and they're not as rich with nutrients as these dark leafy greens. So We want the best quality ingredients that are gonna be going in your body. I'm just gonna shake the excess water here and put it back in my bowl. So you can use any kind of salt to extract the water and pull it from this kale. So I'm just gonna use my Herbamare sea salt that's next to me. I would say a liberal amount, so let's say 2 teaspoons of salt that you can rub down. What you're really trying to do is get all of this salt on these leaves to preserve the texture of it and to make sure that as this rests while the chicken's baking, that we can really get as much water out of these leaves as we can. It's also important to note that there are many different types of salts that might be in our pantries at home. Herbamare sea salt blend is one of our favorites, but we also like Maldon sea salt flakes. It's typically used as a finishing salt, but it is coarse ground. It's a little bit saltier than the normal salt, so that's why people love finishing their steaks and salads and other things with it. But just make sure that you're not using iodized sea salt here, because for Morton's, that's not just their basic sea salt, because it will be probably a little too salty to eat unless you rinse or wipe off the salt additionally, which is going to defeat the purpose of keeping the crunch, using the salt to extract the water to begin with. Okay, so I think all of my leaves are nice and coated well. They're already starting to let go of some of the water and maintain their crunch. So you will know that you're gonna have a nice little sheen. Just gonna wipe this excess salt off of my hands, and we're just gonna let our kale rest while I whisk together this salad dressing to go with it. So I'm gonna make probably enough salad to cover. This salad makes 2 servings, so a 2-cup measuring cup is probably sufficient. And I have a whisk here because I'm actually going to make my own salad dressing immersion. We're gonna use 1 tablespoon, which is about 3 or 4 teaspoons, for those of you who don't know. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use 1 tablespoon, and I've got one of these amazing little measuring cups. And this is good for liquid stuff. I don't have to use the measuring cups, but if you see on here, there are some numbers on the inside of this cup. And so I'm just gonna pour to my 1 tablespoon line and dump it on in there. I also need 1 tablespoon equal of lemon juice. So what I'm going to do is just move a couple of these ingredients out of my way. Then I'm gonna use my trusty knife. If you don't have a lemon press, it's really convenient to use a fork in your hand to extract lemon juice out of a lemon. Bearing in mind that this is a Meyer lemon, so it's gonna have much fewer seeds than the organic lemons that you'll see at the store. But it tends to be a little bit sweeter. It's known to make the best lemonade ever because it's equally as sweet as it is tart naturally. It's a little bit darker in color, almost orange. You can see that the rind is different than most normal conventional lemons. But I'm just gonna squeeze this in my hand, use my little mini tablespoon because I'm doing equal parts, and I'm gonna put the fork in the center of my half slice of my lemon, and I'm just gonna use my hand to catch any potential excess seeds that might go in there because I don't want to eat the seeds. So about half of a good lemon is going to give you about 3 to 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. So you can kind of see there. I'm going to clean the remaining olive oil and I'm going to add my lemon juice there. So I don't need to add any additional salt, but I do need to add a 1/4 cup of my cashews here, and I'm gonna chop them nice and fine because those are gonna give me a nice little crunch in my salad dressing. So we're gonna add those last. But this is a very easy recipe to make because it's only a simple few ingredients and a little bit goes a long way. We're gonna actually have plenty of salad dressing. So all I have to do is put a little pinch of black pepper in the mix. I'm just gonna use my hand because that is a pinch. Since my fingers can't fit in there, I'm gonna wipe off the pepper because I don't want it to end up in my eyes. But what I'll do is I'm gonna take a 1/4 cup, which is about a small handful, like so. I'm gonna put them on this cutting board and I'm gonna chop them fine. So one trick to chopping things fine without cutting yourself is first use the right tools. Use a knife that is a size that you're comfortable with, that is nice and sharp because that prevents injuries. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep my fingers out of the way. I'm gonna make these cashews as flat as possible. And I'm gonna place my knife on the cutting board with one hand on the end, anchoring it down. While I'm gripping it nice and tight, I have my fingers out of the way, both on the top and the bottom of my knife. And I'm anchoring the front, so guess what? I never really have to take my knife off the cutting board. So I'm just gonna go back and forth until these are the texture that I want. Some might move around, but it's okay. So if you're using a bigger knife, it's gonna be much easier for you if you're comfortable with a bigger knife. But certainly, like I said, if you're not comfortable, you're still working on getting your knife skills there, you don't love to cook, just use the knife size appropriately that you're comfortable with. But if you're not comfortable with knives, that's okay too. You can always put them in a bag and bang them out with the bottom of a measuring spoon on your counter if that's what it takes. So this is really a coarse chop. You want them small enough to be nice in the mouth, but they don't have to be small, too small. Because again, you're using this for texture. And really you're gonna finish this salad dressing at the very end. So once things get spread out, that's okay. I'm just gonna go over it one more time to get some of my big chunks out of the way. But see, there's no way that I can get my fingers in the way if I'm holding it down like so. This recipe calls for cashews. I know that we have at least one participant who is allergic to some, often tree nuts. So you can easily substitute for another nut that you appreciate, or maybe this is an opportunity for you to get another 1/4 cup of your seeds, either pumpkin or sunflower that are on your food plans, into this salad mix. So those are done. And all we have to do now is check on our kale, take our chicken out of the oven, and whisk this salad dressing. So as you can see here, this is not a lot of salad dressing, but a little bit goes a long way. So once your emulsion over here, an emulsion is blending anything with a healthy fat with another to make sure that you have a nice, gooey, mixed, well-distributed salad dressing. Because this is only 3 ingredients, olive oil, lemon juice, and pepper, it's gonna be pretty flavorful, but we're not really gonna take away from the seasoning of our chicken or the flavor of our kale. So, I'm gonna put together my salad real quick and then take my chicken out of the oven because it's about ready. It's fine. Okay, so let's see how our chicken breast did. They are beautiful. I'm gonna let them rest for just a minute. And you always want to check your temperature with the thermometer. If you want to just triple check to make sure the internal temperature for a chicken breast. I always choose the big one, but the internal temperature should always read 165. I'm gonna get that all the way in the center. And boom, it's perfect, 165. Okay, I've got my perfectly cooled, slightly chilled chicken breasts. They're not really chilled yet, they're still warm from the oven, but you see the color that I have on these chicken, they brown perfectly. I did not add any oil to my pan. I simply used a dry seasoning blend that I made before you, and you have perfect chicken breasts. These are so versatile. I always have at least one in my fridge. So I'm gonna take my fork that I used for my lemon, and I'm just gonna slice this chicken breast because once I serve my salad in just a minute, I wanna show you how perfect this chicken came out. And it'll be perfect like this every time. So one chicken breast for a protein question is about 40 grams of protein. One average chicken breast of 8 ounces, again, that houses about 40 grams of protein. So really, your serving for women is really about 4 ounces, which is half a chicken breast, can give you 22 grams. You're gonna get some other protein from your kale as well, and some from your salad and seeds. Just need to grab some utensils to mix my salad before I serve them for you. So this is just making sure that everything's coated with that seasoning, everything's fallen to the bottom. I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite quick and easy salads. It's a really good way to get plenty of your servings. This serves 2 people. So I'm really gonna split this salad in half, which is pretty easy to do. It's always a big hit, even for people who aren't following any specific dietary guidelines. This is a great salad because it is gluten-free and dairy-free, soy-free, grain-free. Just make them a little bit more even since I eyeballed my original serving. And then we're just gonna put half of our chicken breast, because this is actually for Dr. Knight and myself. And voila, you have one of our absolutely favorite lemony cashew kale chicken salad. And last but not least, the pièce de la résistance, we're gonna put some mixed sprouts on here for some added benefit. I love sprouts because it makes everything so fragrant and earthy and bright, and it's just gonna give some extra pizzazz to our salads. Thank you for watching.